So let's see, number 19, 2x to the fourth, y to the negative third, all raised to the negative 1. Okay? So I think what I would do here first is I would apply the power property. So I have this exponential expression being raised to this power. There we go, to that power, right? So everything in parentheses has to be raised to that power. So 2 to the negative 1, x, 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, y, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Now I'll deal with the negative exponents. Obviously the 2 and the x have a negative exponent, so I'll flip those to the bottom. So the y to the third will stay on top, 2 to the first on the bottom, x to the fourth on the bottom. Number 29, 4m to the fourth, n to the third, p to the third, all over 3m squared, n squared, p to the fourth. So quotient property again, right? We're obviously dividing. 4 thirds cannot be reduced, so we'll leave those alone. M to the fourth over m squared. 4 minus 2 is 2, so m squared. N to the third over n squared. 3 minus 2 is 1, so just n. P to the third over p to the fourth. 3 minus 4 is negative 1, right? So we really would have p to the negative 1, but of course we want to flip that to the bottom. So p to the positive 1, which we don't have to write that exponent. Nothing else can be simplified, so we're done. Okay, so number 20, 3m raised to the negative 2. So I see the negative exponent. I can flip it, what's inside the parentheses, to make that a positive exponent. So this will become 1 over 3m raised now to the positive 2. But now I also have to apply the power property. So everything in parentheses has to be raised to that exponent of 2. So 1 squared is still just 1. 3 squared is 9. And m squared is m squared. This, you could apply the power property first and then the negative exponent property. So let's just sort of say a big or here. So if I applied the power property first, I'd end up with 3 to the negative 2, m to the negative 2. And now I have to flip those, and I get the same thing. 3 squared, which is 9, m squared. So yeah, basically, power property, negative exponent property, in either order for this one works. 27, 4x to the 0, y to the negative 2, z cubed over 4x. Start with the coefficients. 4 over 4 is 1. So those are gone, right? They basically just cancel each other out. X to the 0 is 1. So that's really gone too. I have an x on the bottom. There's no longer any x on the top, so the x on the bottom is just going to stay there. Up top, I have y to the negative 2. Negative exponent rule, we're going to flip that to the bottom to make it positive. Y squared. Z to the third, it's the only z. It's already positive exponent. We just leave it alone. Standard procedure in math is that you write the variables in alphabetical order. So on the bottom, you would write xy squared, not y squared x. Although if you wrote it that way, it wouldn't be wrong. All right, number 6, 2x cubed y to the negative third times 2x to the negative 1 y to the third. Coefficients, 2 times 2 is 4. x to the third times x to the negative 1, x squared. Y to the negative third times y to the positive third would be y to the 0, which is 1. So we don't even need to write that. So 4x squared is our answer. 2x squared raised to the negative 4th power. So I'm going to apply the power property first. So everything in parentheses has to be raised to that power. So I get 2 to the negative 4 and x to the negative 8, because the power property says multiply the exponents. Now I obviously have two negative exponents, so I flip them to the bottom. 1 over 2 to the 4th, x to the 8th. Now I just have to find out what 2 to the 4th is. Is it 16? Yeah. So we have 1 over 16 x to the 8th. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So we do j to the negative 4, but then we flip it to the bottom, j to the positive 4. K to the 4th divided by k, 4 minus 1 is 3. It's positive, leave it on top. I do. Just got it. Something like that. 30? Mm-mm. All right, number 30. 3x to the third, y to the negative 1, z to the negative 1, over x to the negative 4th, y to the 0, z to the 0. Okay, so lots of 0 exponents, so let's just get rid of those. That coefficient is the only coefficient, so it's just going to stay where it is. Quotient property right here, 3 minus negative 4 is the same as 3 plus 4, which is 7. So we'd have 3x to the 7th. That's going to need to be flipped to the bottom, and that's going to need to be flipped to the bottom. So y to the 1st, z to the 1st.